Look, let's be real. You don't need another video telling you that Miami has beaches and Fort Lauderdale has boats and yachts. You already know that, I hope. What you really want to know is, where do I actually fit in? Because South Florida isn't just one vibe, it's hundreds of vibes. And the worst move you could possibly make, landing in the wrong one. So if you're into street food, backyard docks, outdoor workouts, mural walks, quiet mornings, or maybe all of it, depending on the day, which is valid, this video is your shortcut. No fluff, no hype, just the places that match your pace and your lifestyle. You've seen the surface, now let's go and find the spot that actually fits your life. All right, here's how this works and why this video isn't like the rest. We're not doing that usual, here's a neighborhood and here's a cool stat kind of thing, because that's boring. You can easily Google that and find that out. This is where you find your vibe. Fast-paced or laid back, coastal or deep cultural roots. Because here's the truth. Living in South Florida isn't just about where the home is. It's about what the neighborhood feels like when you wake up on a random Tuesday morning. Does it move like you? Does it sound like you? Does it match the way that you live at the end of the day? And that's what we're dialing in. And honestly, if you need help figuring out exactly where fits your vibe, your lifestyle, and ultimately your family, that's what my team and I are here to help with. We've helped dozens of families just like you and yours find the right area that fits them and their lifestyle. Reach out to us. Our information is on the screen and down in the description. But now, instead of sorting by zip code, we're gonna actually sort by real life. And we're kicking things off with the places where the vibe really comes alive. Bold flavor, real culture, and a rhythm that doesn't try too hard. Let's start where South Florida feels the most alive. Have you ever stepped into a place and you can just feel it in your chest? Not the noise, the rhythm. The kind that hums through the pavement and wraps around you like you've been there before, even if it's your first time here in a place like this. That's Calle Ocho. On a weekday afternoon, a pork roast spinning behind a steel gate, salsa riffs bouncing off the stucco, and men playing dominoes outside Maximo Gomez Park like they have for 30 years. Louder than the traffic, louder than your thoughts. You grab a colada from Versailles and suddenly you're not just visiting, you're part of the neighborhood's heartbeat. And honestly, I'd grab a pastelito too, guava and cheese, that's the go-to. These aren't just cultural districts, they're cultural anchors. That street, it's only 5 minutes from Brickell, but it doesn't really feel like it. It feels like a completely different country, but in the best way. And the homes in the area, concrete block, 1940s, some restored, some waiting, $500,000 to $700,000, and you can still find the ones with terrazzo floors and mango trees in the backyard. Mango trees are a huge thing here. You head north and the mood completely shifts. Del Rey's Pineapple Grove hits like a creative retreat. Bike-friendly lanes, streets lined with pop-up art, and locals spilling out of indie bookstores, coffee shops, and even El Camino. There's a craft market on Saturdays, car shows, but even Tuesdays have texture, especially at El Camino and Rocco's Tacos for the Taco Tuesday. Obviously, you can see I like it. People know each other by name here, by dog, by rhythm, and in Alapata, the art isn't in galleries. It's actually on chain link fences, shipping containers, and loading docks. Right by the Rubel Museum, there's a sandwich shop that'll change your entire life. And a butcher with family photos taped to the counter. Walk a couple blocks west, and it's still raw, not curated, and that's exactly the point. $400,000 homes right next to multi-million-dollar warehouses getting flipped for startups and studios. It's Wynwood, but 10 years ago, with deeper roots. These aren't neighborhoods where you hide inside. These are places that really pull you out onto the sidewalks, into conversations with locals and friends, and into the community. They remind you that culture isn't something you just consume. It's something that you live inside of. But maybe you're someone who looks around at that mural, half finished, rough around the edges, and doesn't just see what it is. You see what it really could be at the end of the day. If that's you though, the next neighborhoods aren't just full of energy, they're truly full of potential. Every city has those neighborhoods where people whisper about them, the ones that you haven't quite seen blow up yet, but when you walk through them, you can just feel the shift happening beneath your feet. Start north of the design district in Buena Vista, and things get real layered real fast. One of my buddies lives here, he loves it. You're standing between $5,000 designer handbags and a 1930s stucco cottage with a mango tree shading the front steps. The streets are a little bit quieter here, but there's movement. Restoration trucks, new signage, young families pushing strollers past long-time locals. You could still get a single family home here in the mid-600s if you know where to look. And more people are looking and more homes are getting developed. Cut west into West Coconut Grove and everything tightens up a little bit. Narrow streets, thick canopies, and the kind of front yards that hold cookouts every weekend. Honestly, I love it over there. It's not glossy, but it's grounded. There's Bohemian heritage on every corner, community gardens and murals that haven't been touched up in years because they don't need to be. You're 5 minutes from the water, 10 from Coral Gables, but it feels like its own ecosystem. The Grove has always had its soul, but this pocket, it's the heart that no one really talks about. Further north, Little River is buzzing, not loudly, but persistently. Old industrial bones wrapped in new ambition, warehouses flipped into ceramic studios, a craft coffee shop squeezed between a body shop and a botanica. Buyers are stepping in fast along with developers, and the price gaps are closing. $375,000 bungalows next to $900,000 modern builds. You're not just watching the change here, you're literally standing in front of it. And tucked just west of downtown, Overtown is writing one of the most underrated comeback stories in Miami. It doesn't feel forced, it feels earned. Historic venues like the Lyric are booking live jazz again, and new restaurants are opening on blocks that used to be dead silent. Developers are circling, sure, but what's stronger is the way that the community is reclaiming its own rhythm. The pride here is loud. What ties these places together, though, isn't just the change, it's the direction. These neighborhoods aren't wondering what they'll become, they're already becoming it. And if you're looking for that mix of authenticity, growth, and the kind of value that's not obvious unless you actually live here, that's exactly what our team is helping people unlock every single day. All the links to reach us are in the description and on the screen. If you want the real breakdown, we've got you. You're not waiting on what's next. You want a neighborhood that's already in motion, lit up, walkable, and buzzing long after midnight. Down here, the night doesn't just end, it completely shifts gears. Now, some places definitely don't wait for the weekend. They bring the energy on a random Tuesday or Wednesday night. Step out your door and you're already in it. Patio beats humming under string lights, the smell of grilled street food curling around the corner, and someone spinning records on a sidewalk deck like it's a block party for just 10 people and nobody's even checking the time. This isn't just walkable, it's wired. In downtown Fort Lauderdale, Las Olas is where the pulse lives. Think rooftop lounges, speakeasies with velvet nooks, late night sushi spots, and everything from $500,000 high-rise condos to quiet townhomes and single-family homes tucked along the New River. You could park your car Friday afternoon and completely forget that it exists till Monday morning. Just please make sure that you pay for parking, because I promise you, they'll give you a ticket. The entire weekend's within arm's reach. Now, what if you prefer coastal energy with a little less density? Delray Beach's Atlantic Ave nails that balance. Open air wine bars, tucked away ceviche joints, boutique shopping, and palm-shaded sidewalks that stretch 2 blocks from the beach. You're really not a tourist here. You're a local with great taste. Also, make sure you go to El Camino. And if your version of nightlife is louder, wilder, and never going to bed, Brickell and downtown Miami show up strong. The Miami Ave corridor in Brickell pulses with urban energy, rooftop lounges, craft cocktail bars, late night eateries, and networking that flows from glass towers to waterfront terraces. Walkable? Absolutely. Affordable? Not quite. Sleek high-rise luxury condos and modern penthouses are in the $500,000 to $2 million range, all within the heart of Miami's financial district. It's still affordable, just on the higher end. The thread that connects these places isn't just convenience, it's freedom. No ride shares, no parking stress, just real life unfolding in real time, one corner at a time. And we know which buildings get noisy after 11, which patios draw the locals, and which blocks look good on paper, but then fall flat once you actually see them in person. If that's the kind of insight you want, we've got you covered. Check the description. Nightlife isn't everyone's rhythm though. Some are drawn to something just a little bit quieter. Places where the community still gathers on porches, and the loudest thing on a Friday night is the grill lighting or someone in their home gym. You just have to know where to look. There's beach living and then there's boat living. I think boating's better. If your dream version of Florida includes salt in the air, lines tied off to your private dock, and a sunset cruise just because it's a day that ends in Y, then this is 100% your section. Honestly, it's my favorite section. For people who want deep water access, no fixed bridges, and a backyard that floats, Lighthouse Point hits that sweet spot. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's dialed. Quiet canals, wide lots, and homes that range from classic 1960s single-story builds to brand new contemporary estates pushing past the $4 and $5 million range. The vibe? Locals who've been here for decades, mixed with boaters who know how rare it is to get open water access this clean and close to town. You're literally like a stone's throw away from the inlet. Just north, you have Deerfield Beach and the Cove, which gives you serious waterfront without the pretense. You got streets where almost every house has a dock, and prices are still in the mid-$1 million range. Think about like 1.5 to 1.6. You're about 10 minutes from the Boca Inlet, and there's this under the radar calm about it, like everyone's quietly winning. Plus, you can walk to the beach or bike to the waterfront dining without needing to hit Federal, or as other people call it, US 1. If your weekends revolve around docking for brunch and slipping out by sunset, Rio Vista, Harbor Beach, and Idlewild in Fort Lauderdale bring the A-list calm. Think full intercoastal frontage, yachts parked like sedans, and streets where every palm looks professionally lit. Not to mention, all this is deep water access with no fixed bridges, the most important part. Now, speaking of fixed bridges, if you can get under about a 9-foot clearance, one of my personal favorites is Garden Isles in Pompano, aka Pampa, yes. With all the development happening, this area is about to blow up. But this neighborhood has one fixed bridge, but the prices on the water are in the low $1 million range. And with all the development that's happening, it's primed to take off. These are the neighborhoods we're walking with clients every week, helping them line up dock depth, bridge clearance, and setbacks, which canals get the morning light. And if you want those details dialed in, our info's in the description. What makes all this unique in South Florida, though, is that you don't have to sacrifice neighborhood feel to really live on the water. These aren't sterile communities with gates and silence and nobody out. They're lived in, docked up, and full of energy, especially on the weekends. If you've ever toured a place and caught yourself checking the dock length before you've even looked at the kitchen, yeah, this is your lane. And if your ideal morning starts with dock shoes and a coffee on the stern, wait until you see what's next, because waterfront living is just one side of South Florida's style. Some people actually want something quieter, but with real identity. Not sterile, but homegrown, self-run, and a little off the mainstream radar. And when we work with families, this is where things slow down on purpose. We're not just helping find bedrooms and square footage. We're actually walking the neighborhoods, checking out the parks, seeing the commute times, and mapping out your Saturday routine. That kind of search takes a local hand that you can't find on Google. And that's where our team steps in. Our info's in the description and on the screen, but what if you're craving something with a little bit more grit? Murals instead of mailboxes, music spilling out of record shops. We're shifting gears next, and the energy hits different. There's no need for fixer-upper headaches if you're wired for clean design, modern systems, and a punch list that's already cleared. South Florida's new construction scene is delivering. There are cranes like that covering the skyline from Miami to West Palm, with more and more new condos coming and popping up everywhere. But it's not just condos. There's a plethora of new single-family home communities too, which I love, especially for the space and the amenities. Boca Bridges and Lotus Palm and Edge in Boca are redefining what gated communities look like in 2025. I would live there in a heartbeat. These aren't subdivisions. They're full-blown lifestyle zones. Resort-style clubhouses, splash parks, on-site dining, even golf cart lanes and gyms. Inside the homes, waterfall edge islands, floating vanities, smart lighting, and entire walls that retract with a tap. Prices run from just under about $2 million to $4 million plus, depending on the size, lot position, upgrades, and yes, everything's solar ready and hurricane ready for lower insurance. Further west, Parkland Bay takes a more understated route, but with just as much finish. Homes wrap around a private lake with wide setbacks, smooth contemporary lines, and that fresh drywall smell still hanging in the air. Most were built within about the last 3 years, with price points in the $1.3 to $2 million range and floor plans made for multi-generational living. Think flex rooms, full guest suites, and massive kitchen islands that double as homework hubs and just a hangout space. Slide over to High Pines and Shenandoah in Miami, and you'll find a completely different take. These aren't planned communities. They're one-off builds by boutique firms who know how to balance sleek architecture with local texture, and they're beautiful. It's modernism stitched into older neighborhoods, 4-bed, 4-bath infill homes in the $1.8 to about $3 million range, where the garage doors open into palm-shaded courtyards, and your living room blends right into the patio, and the outdoor space is unbelievable. For buyers who care about flow and design forward detail, this market's speaking your language. These aren't just homes. They're smart, curated environments built for legacy and lifestyle. This is the kind of inventory we tour every week with our clients, comparing finishes, digging into builder reputations, and clarifying what the HOA actually covers at the end of the day, because you want to know that. If you want that kind of insight before you ever set foot inside, all the links to reach us are in the description. New builds are clean, but some people want something with wrinkles, texture, history, character. They're not chasing square footage. They're really chasing the story. Blocks with old grown trees and even older front porches, where the pace is a little bit slower, but the roots run deep. That next neighborhood, It doesn't ask for attention, it earns it. Everyone talks about hotspots, but then they ask the locals where they go in real life, the morning coffee runs, the best gyms, the post-beach rents, the Tuesday night takeout, and a different map really starts to form. Wilton Manors, for example, hits different. It's not about the hype, it's about heartbeat. You have bungalows from the 50s with butterfly roofs and mango trees out front. A main strip where you can walk to a drag brunch, then to a vintage bookstore without ever having to cross a major road. There's pride here in every sense. Homes hover in about the $500,000 to $700,000 range, with most already updated or waiting for a creative eye. Just east then, you have Poinsettia Heights, which leans low-key luxe, not showy, just sharp. Close to the water, close to downtown, and still a place where you'll see your neighbors walking dogs at 7 a.m. without earbuds in so you can actually talk to them. The homes here are modest in scale, but big on style, about 1,500, 1,800 square foot mid-century builds with carports, private patios, and palm trees that have been there longer than you've been looking, and honestly longer than I've been alive. If you need that single family freedom without a finance headache, North Andrew Gardens is still one of the last holdouts under $600,000. And it's not just good for the price, it's good, period. Wide driveways, fenced yards, space to plant a citrus tree and build a fire pit, and it's 12 minutes from the beach. No tolls, no towers, just a kind of chill that's getting harder to find pretty much anywhere here in South Florida. This is where the search gets real, not aspirational, actual. These aren't the homes that trend, they're the homes that work. And helping people land here before the buzz catches up, that's something we take personally. If you're eyeing this lane, check the description. We'll walk you through it the right way. But what if laid back wasn't just a lifestyle? It was written into the city limits. The kind of place where the mayor lives down the block, the local diner like Dandy Donuts knows your order, and the 4th of July parade actually shuts down Main Street. Yeah, we know a few of those. Let's head there next. That's the real South Florida map. Not just neighborhoods, but moods. Each one wired a little bit differently. Some built for legacy, some built for re-innovation, some still kind of figure themselves out. And that's actually what makes them exciting. If one of these spots hit home for you, or if you're still kind of torn between, do I want character or do I want convenience? That's literally what we help people figure out every single day. No pressure, no hard pitch, just real talk and real insight from someone who grew up here. All the links are in the description and on the screen if you want to start a conversation with our team. And if you're not done exploring yet, we've got an entire playlist loaded with deep dives from waterfront pocket tours to neighborhood cost breakdowns. It's all built to help you see what's out here before you ever step foot on a plane or even schedule a showing. Because around here, it's not just about buying a home. It's about finding your lane and your lifestyle, knowing you didn't miss the good stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.